And I'm happy to show you my track record. I am firmly pro-life. I am pro-family. I am opposed to same-sex marriage. I want to make sure that legal immigration is protected, but I have been steadfast in fighting against illegal immigration. I know how to rein in spending. I was faced with a huge budget gap, $3 billion budget gap. We cut spending and cut back. And at the end of my 4 years, we had a $2 billion rainy day fund left behind so that people were able to count on a good future. And finally, I'll take credit for the fact that the Boston Red Sox won the World Series. You know, we get blamed for everything that goes wrong. We might as well get some credit for things that go right, even though we had absolutely nothing to do with it. I see this Red Sox hat in the front row here. It's an honor to have a few Red Sox fans around the country, and the last 2 nights have been very, very good to the Red Sox, and I hope they keep that up. Let me tell you, I am really optimistic about the future of our country. I wish. Of course, you've lived in Iowa, most of you, all your life, and so you've met Iowans, and you come away saying, well, we have heartland values here, and America's going to be strong as long as the values that are held in this part of the country are strong and firm. But you should know in other parts of the country as well, there are awfully good people. They don't call them heartland values usually. If you're in South Carolina, they talk about Southern values. Someone printed up a shirt for me down there. It said, Yankee Governor, Southern Values. I said, absolutely. And then if you're in Michigan, they talk about Midwest values. And those are good, too. And if you're up in New Hampshire, they talk about Yankee values. And not to be confused with the New York Yankees. Yankee values. And you know what? There's a common theme in all of these. And that common theme is love of our families, love of our faith, love of our country, willingness to work hard, willingness to sacrifice for the future. That's the nature of America. We esteem opportunity above ease and dependence on government. And Hillary Clinton, if she were elected president of this country, I'm convinced she'd take a sharp left turn with big government, big taxes, big brother telling us how to run our lives. That is not the right course for America. That's a course that would weaken our military, it would weaken our economy, and weaken our families. And so people are going to have a choice, Republican and Democrat, which way to go. And among us Republicans, you're going to take a look at each of us and say, okay, who can beat Hillary Clinton? And I'm convinced I can do that. And I'm convinced that one of the ways I do it, is winning right here in Iowa. Because, you know, there are some purple states. You know, you've now become known as a purple state, all right? Because you can be Republican, you can be Democrat. To win in a purple state, you've got to be able to connect with people here in Iowa, and that's one reason I'm fighting so hard in this caucus and also in the straw poll process. I want to make sure that people in Iowa know me and are willing to vote for me in the general election, because I don't think we win unless we get Iowa and Nevada and Michigan and Florida and some of these purple states. So you're going to make a real difference. Your voice is going to be heard around the country. You're going to be the first to help select the nominee for our party. And if you give me that vote, I think I'm going to get the nomination. And one thing I'm sure of, if I get that nomination, I'll beat Hillary Clinton for all of us. Thank you so much. Let me turn to you. This is quite an audience. I'll tell you. Here comes dinner. No, that's it. Okay. Let's see. Good. Oh, okay. Boston is ahead. That's good news. That's good news. Thank you. I just got a correction. I mentioned that Governor Huckabee signed a tuition credit for illegal aliens. He didn't sign it. He supported it, but he didn't sign it. Do you know whether it made it through the legislature?
They wisely did not pass it.
The legislature did not pass it. He supported it. So we have different views on that, as well as other topics. Let's turn to you, though, and your questions. Yes, sir.
You know, you've ran on me before, and I'm always interested in the veterans issue.
Yeah.
And we'll change that because I think you do a great job with the veterans. I love that you got people like you to
Well, thank you.
But what I want to ask now is I spend about 3 hours a night on the internet with other veterans all over the United States. And the question they're asking right now is, and I want to ask you how you feel on this. They think the National Guard should be out in California like retire and let the regular military fight the war.
Yeah.
You've got a crisis at home. How do you feel on that?
Well, the National Guard, of course, I'm not sure we'd have them out fighting fires because they need fire training. I'm sure there's some National Guardsmen who have the fire training. Certainly patrolling streets is a good thing to do. I haven't seen reports of substantial looting in California. And I think that's in part because people have been careful and watched each other's homes and so forth. And the Guard is really there for that. You really need professional firefighters in these settings where there's been fire. But one of the reasons I'm in favor of adding at least 100,000 troops to our active duty is that I think we've put too much of a burden on our National Guard and reserve units. They didn't sign up for once every 4 years going out into harm's way like this. They signed up anticipating that they'd be ready in case there were a major emergency, but generally taking responsibility for caring for us here at home. And my view is we need more active duty personnel so we don't have to put such a burden on our National Guard and our reservists, and that would allow more of them to be here. I don't think that would have made a difference in California, to tell you the truth, but I do think it makes sense to have our Guardsmen here at home and to have more active duty in that responsibility. Thank you.
I thank you for today, and thank you for what you did for the best of your state.
Thank you.
We look forward to it when you become president or the president.
Thank you. Thank you. You're very kind. We have the person who was actually a Congressional Medal of Honor winner was my Secretary of Veterans Affairs, and he worked with me and with the legislature to improve our veterans benefits, and we believe we have the most generous veterans program of any state in America. Yes, sir.
I 100% support your family values. But one of my biggest issues, being put on the record, I've never voted Republican. Usually have a slogan for left hand, so but I really want to support you. One of the questions I have is, I believe in family values, but what do you tell the children that are going to bed hungry every night? And tell about the children that families are working for less. How do you comfort them, and what kind of goal or vision do you have for them?
Well, first, for people in our country that are having a tough time, and there are a lot of folks that are having a tough time, we have to make sure that we do our very best to give them better opportunities so they can have a more promising time. One thing we can do is make sure they all have health care. All right, health care is very expensive, and one thing I was proud of doing in my state was getting health insurance for everybody in the state. We didn't have government take it over, and we didn't raise taxes to do it. That wasn't necessary. But instead, we were able to get private insurance for the uninsured in our state. That helps working families having a hard time making ends meet. Number two, we do have good programs, and perhaps we'll look at them, that are support programs for those in real need. So people that are hungry, we have food stamp programs and housing voucher programs. We also have the earned income tax credit, so people get money back. Actually, today about 30% of Americans don't pay any income tax because of the earned income tax credit that comes back their way. And so we have safety net programs, and we're going to continue to do that. But in my view, the right answer for the future of the country is to help open up opportunity for more people. That's why I want to let people save their money tax-free. That's why I want to improve our schools. That's why I want to get health care for all of our citizens, not just for a few who could afford gold plate policies, but for all of our citizens. And frankly, I don't stay up at night worrying about rich people doing well. They're going to do just fine. I worry a great deal about middle-income families that are getting squeezed because of the burdens and the costs of kids and taxes and the higher gasoline prices. I worry about middle-income Americans, and I worry also about very low-income Americans. And we're going to do our best to make sure that we care for those citizens so that America is a land of opportunity for everyone. Thank you. Yes? Ma'am, yes. Uh-oh, uh-oh. That was Maine. Maine. Starts with M, but fortunately, yeah. For those that were not aware,